What's up, you two? We back with another review. This is Frieren A Journeys End, episode 5. Let's get it. As we get into the episode, Frieren and Fern are continuing their journey. And right before they leave Eisen, he tells Fern, y'all would be going on a 10-year journey. Fern would say, right, just like him with the hero and the rest of his crew. Frieren would say, yes, a small 10 years. Suddenly, the anime goes into a flashback of Frieren leaving the rest of the crew and saying that she would like to continue her journey, but she doesn't need an apprentice with her. After the sudden flashback, Eisen will let Frieren know, even though you don't see those years as being long, they changed you. Frieren is shook, and she then remembers all the time she shared with her comrades and Fern. I believe that she can see herself changing little by little. Soon after, they would leave Eisen and continue their journey, and while traveling, Fern would fall asleep. She would then have a dream about Heater the priest. He would say, listen and obey Frieren or I'm going to come back to see you. Suddenly she's awoken by Frieren. They're at their next destination. It's a village that's been hunted by a mysterious being. And not only that, some people have died. And after Frieren and Fern do an investigation with all the locals, Frieren has an idea of what it is. She says this is a different type of monster. She tells Fern we should just avoid it. Fern says no, we should help the villagers, they need us. And after a little convincing from Fern, Frieren agrees. They would then arrive at the place where all the villagers that disappeared were at. Frieren would immediately sense clues, and she would then give Fern a pop quiz. She would say, what magic is it? She would say it's illusion magic. Bingo, and she'd be right. And after putting all the pieces together, Fern and Frieren would come to the conclusion that the mysterious monster is Enzyme, an evil and tricky monster that uses illusions to lure in and trick its prey. Frieren asks that it only eats humans, and not only that, it shows you images of people that you love or care for. And as they continue to track this monster down, Frieren asks Fern, she say, would you be able to kill these phantom illusions? Fern says, yes, they're fake. Frieren replies and says, I once had to kill a phantom of my master. I believe she's implying that this monster would do all types of tricky things, and she's trying to see if Fern will be ready. And as we move along, Fern will be put to the test, because suddenly a phantom of Heater would arrive, and Himmel will arrive. And right on point with the earlier lore about this monster, it chooses two people that means a lot to these two characters. And Fern, she struggles with it. She hesitates to kill it. But Frieren, on the other hand, has a ton of experience. So she destroys hers. And after seeing that, Fern would eventually destroy hers also. And after the mission is complete, they move along with their journey. They would arrive at a cannon. And crazy, what lies in this cannon is a dragon. It's a solar dragon. Frieren then says we have to defeat it. She would then tell Fern it has a grimoire that I want inside of his nest. And just like that, the next mission is here. Frieren would tell Fern to take it out. She uses offensive magic. She lets off a powerful blast. It would connect, but it wouldn't be powerful enough. The dragon grows irritated and flies up and looks to attack them. Frieren then hilariously says, hey, let's run. She takes off into the forest. Fern would follow. And after a while, they manage to get out of his hair. And after them both agreeing that they shouldn't play tag with this dragon, they come up with a plan to find a companion, somebody that could help them. Suddenly, the anime goes back into a flashback of Frieren talking to Eisen. And in so many words, he's basically saying that he wants Frieren to take on his apprentice, a strong warrior named Stark. And seeing that they need a companion, he would be a great person to add to the team. And so as they go into town looking for him, coincidentally, a local would come up to them and say Stark is looking for them. And as we continue, they would go and meet Stark. And on their way there, the local woman there tells them the lore of the story of how the dragon attacked their village. It destroyed everything, but this one warrior stood out and stopped it, and that was Stark. And so after hearing this, Frieren and Fern say, we'll be great to match up with him. We can defeat the dragon together. And so as we move along, they would meet Stark. And after Frieren and him go back and forth asking each other what's their motives, Stark would agree to join the team. Frieren would come up with a plan. She tells Stark, distract it for 30 seconds and I'll be able to kill it. Suddenly Stark's demeanor changes for some reason. And he would then tell Frieren the truth behind the story of the dragon in the village. He would say that he's actually a coward. He has no experience, and him defeating the dragon was just a whim. It was just luck. He's basically been capping the whole time. And the village think he's a hero and he can't leave. After he tells this hilarious story, Frieren would accept him. Somewhere in her mind, she thinks that he can destroy the dragon. She would give him to the morning time to practice. And that's exactly what he'd do. because all through the night he would hone in his skills, and after tirelessly going at it, with his weapon he would let off an attack so powerful and loud, Frieren and Fern would hear him. After Fern would go check up on him, she would see the insane damage of his weapon, and in so many words, I think she starts to believe that he could be the one that helped him defeat the dragon. She can see how powerful he is, and as she glares at his weapon, the anime ends.